to.
Two-lane highways.
Why?
Because they suck. They're dangerous.
Once again, we are out on the road. Hi, everybody. How are you? So we're working for you, working for you. So we're a little bit late, but sorry, we took an Amtrak from Washington, D.C., and now we are in Pennsylvania, and we're headed to Lancaster, and we're going to get some information for you. So good morning. How are you guys doing? Where are you guys? Good morning. Don from Georgia, says Dorothy. Good morning. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Welcome to our hot topics, and we have um, one big hot topic today, maybe one hot topic plus, okay? So thanks for joining us. Thanks for being so patient. I know you guys understand this is really crunch time when it comes to the election. And I'm out here where the action is because I'm trying to get you to understand what's going on, to have a better understanding of what's going on, also to take you to. Good morning from Dallas, D. Price. I'm so glad that you're here. Happy Hump Day to you, Sin, as well. Jamie from Los Angeles, I'm so glad that you're here. Ashanti from Biloxi, Mississippi, I'm glad that you're here too. And Mary from the DMV. Everyone, Margie from New York, Orlando. Cryptic is from Orlando, New Jersey from Blackbot. Taylor, talking about all of the whole garbage things. Okay, we're going to talk all about garbage. Good morning, Tony from Fort Worth. Okay, so let me get you up to date on what's going on. As you know, the vice president did a closing message. I'm sure there will be another message coming before Election Day. But what is believed, good morning, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, L. What is believed to be our closing message with 75,000 people, an overflow crowd, not only at the White House, but on the national, in front of the national monument. Unbelievable. I just want to show you how many people were there, and then I'm going to tell you because the other guy is not happy about it. But here's what last night, the crowd and the vice president. Check it out.
Thank you, everyone.
Look at that. So that's a lot of folks. And what you saw there, just so you know, what you saw there was just at the White House. Not everybody could fit in there, and so they had that overflow crowd on the mall. Did you guys watch it? People are saying there are mixed head counts. This is according to the campaign that it was 75,000 people. Okay, so I know that everybody's going to have their own thing, but that's what they say, 75,000 people. That's a lot of folks who were there last night. Okay, so listen, Donald Trump is claiming, he's upset because there are large crowds. He's saying, oh, I had the biggest crowds. He is now saying my crowds were bigger than that in Butler, Pennsylvania. So I've got the biggest crowds. He is an issue with numbers and sizes. Here it is.
To Butler, we had 107,000 people. But can you imagine? We had 107,000 people in Butler celebrating the life of a great gentleman, a great fireman, Corey, a great firefighter and respected guy.
So there you go. And again, that's been disputed because 107,000 people cannot fit in the venue in the place where he was. So there we go. The news said 100,000 at the Kamala Harris rally. I don't know. 100 billion, says Danny. Exactly. What the heck? So just like he said the other night that there were, I forget how many people, 70, 90, whatever thousand people at Madison Square Garden. But Madison Square Garden only fits 20,000 people. Okay? So there you go. So I saw someone in the thing saying that she was very presidential. Yes, I will have to agree. She was very presidential. I do have to tell you, I was in Washington, D.C. last night. I was doing a focus group and a panel with black men, and the discussion was fantastic. We're going to put that up for you on the channel, and you're going to be able to hear. There were people there who were Democratic, very liberal-leaning men. There were centrist men there, independents. There was a conservative Republican MAGA Trump supporter who, wow, they lit into him, didn't they? Yeah, they lit into him. I'm talking to producer Chris, who's driving here. So it's been a very interesting couple of days for us. We're taking you again to where the action is. But this is what I want you guys to think about, okay? This is what I want you to think about. And I want you to really listen to this, because we really do believe in two worlds, right? Echo chambers, but we're hearing two different messages depending on where you're getting the information from. But just, I'm not going to dig into, the specifics of the messages, but I just want you to hear tone, and I just want you to absorb. And as an American, I just want to know how it makes you feel. Okay. So I'm going to start on a compare and contrast, because I believe, one, as I was listening to the messages on the train, on the Amtrak, getting ready to present to you with this show today, and I'm so happy that you're here, it made me depressed and sad. One made me depressed and sad, and it was so dark. Okay, I don't want to start off this morning depressing you, but I just want you to listen to the contrast. And one gave me hope. There was light, and regardless of how bad we think the situation is, that it's going to get better. That we don't have to be divided. And it almost is like, it made me sort of feel like, that feeling when when you come out of church and you're like, okay, we're hopeful. The future is bright. Our right now is bright, but everything can always be better. So I'm going to start by comparing and contrasting again, and I want you to listen very closely. The first one I'm going to start with is the Vice President of the United States. And listen to her message, and then afterwards I'll play a Trump message. Here's her first message, talking about patriots and establishing common ground.
And here is my pledge to you. I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to make your life better. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress. I pledge to listen to experts, to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make, and to people who disagree with me. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at
and I'll
the
get to that
table.
more on the enemy from within. Okay, I want to talk about more on the enemy from within. Now let's compare that to Donald Trump's message. Okay, this is Donald Trump's message about America being a garbage can. Now listen to the difference in tone.
This to happen to us, she allowed us to be invaded. We were invaded. This was a massive invasion of criminals. She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. It's vicious what's happening. They're killing our people. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. Oh, the Congo. They're supplying lots. They're taking them out of their jails. They're opening up their jails, and they're busing them. They can't get enough buses, frankly, because I'm shocked. Venezuela is only about 60% empty. Do you know that Venezuelan crime is down 72%? You know why? Because their criminals are being taken into the United States of America. It's like, I said this, the press gave me a hard time on this one. They said it was very I don't think it's decision. It's like we're a giant garbage can. That's what they treat us like. And these are killers. These are drug dealers. These are gangs, gang members. These are some of the worst people. These are terrorists. And they're treating us and dumping. They're dumping like we're a dumping ground. And it includes savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and our girls. And then they say, oh, my people said, sir, please don't say that. What? You're going to protect the women? It sounds very like, I said, well, don't they want protection? I think they want protection. No, don't it? Sir, it doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. I'm going to protect our women from criminals coming into our country and going up to the suburbs.
Enough. Do you guys get what I'm saying? You would think that we live that America was like a complete war zone of just chaos and crime and that immigrants were the worst thing to ever happen to this country, even migrants who come in legally. If you listen to that, it's like we live in a hellhole. And I know that not to be true. We don't live in a hellhole. Are there incidents of crime? Yes, but crime is down overall. And here's the truth about things. People who are immigrants to this country commit less crime than American citizens. Those are the facts. That is a fear tactic. Again, it's like listening to someone say, you are awful, you're terrible, you're never going to grow up, you're not going to amount to anything, you're a loser. That's what it sounds like to me. Tell me if I'm wrong. The vice president now talking about the fight to restore women's rights, another positive issue. Watch.
Trump has never understood is that e pluribus unum, out of many, one, isn't just a phrase on a dollar bill. It is a living truth about the heart of our nation. Our democracy doesn't require us to agree on everything. In fact, we like good arguments from time to time. Just think of your own family, right? It's not the American way to not have disagreements. We don't shy away from robust debate. In fact, we like a good debate, don't we? We like a good debate.
This is a different clip, Don. I can play the other one right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's all good. Listen, that was a different clip, but that's okay. It's still a positive message. It's still a positive message that she's delivering. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. And yes, we love a good debate. That's not a negative message. We love a good debate. We can talk. That's what we're doing here on the road. Is that we're talking to people. We're having conversations. We're debating. That's why I keep bringing you to the places where we can hear people outside of our bubble. I want to hear people outside of where I live in Manhattan. I want to hear people outside of sitting on an anchor desk or sitting at a desk for a host or just within our bubble. That is not a negative message. That is a positive message. I'll play the right to restore women's rights afterwards. But let's hear from this. Here is the former president talking about everything that's bad and everything is transgender, again, demonizing a very small group of Americans and people who are part of an underserved community, that we should be more curious about learning about them rather than demonizing him as he does many people, including women and minorities and immigrants. And he also demonizes transgender people as well. It's all fear. Here he is. Listen to the contrast in the messages.
We're going to say how we're going to... They meet, how can we cheat? This is their meeting. Because who the hell can win an election with open borders, transgender everybody, men playing in women's sports? No, think of it. Men's... Allow millions of people through an open border, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. They come from parts unknown. They come from countries you've never even heard of, and then you find out that they came from jails and mental institutions. No, they cheat like hell, and it's a damn disgrace. So we're going to get it straightened out. We got to get it straightened out.
I mean, there you go. There you go. It's just, again, the lies about the border is open. The border is not open. Do we have problems on our southern border? Absolutely. But remember, most of the people who come into this country, what do? They fly in on airplanes and they overstay their visas. But we want to demonize people who come in from the southern border because it's politically convenient. It's politically expedient. They're also brown and dark people. And it's easy to demonize them, right? Easy to demonize them. Another positive message from the vice president.
I believe in the fundamental freedom of Americans to make decisions about their own bodies and not have their government tell them what to do. I will fight to restore what Donald Trump and his hand-selected Supreme Court justices took away from the women of America. That today, 1 in 3 women in America, think about it, 1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions even for rape and incest. The idea that a woman who survives a crime of a violation to her body should not have the authority to make a decision about what happens to her body next, that is immoral. That is immoral. And Trump's not done. He would ban abortion nationwide, restrict access to birth control and put IVF treatments at risk, and force states to monitor women's pregnancies. Just Google Project 2025 and read the plans for yourself. And look, I think we all know one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to simply agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body.
So listen, even with that message, and it's true, all you have to do is look at Project 2025, absolutely right. And don't let people, when they say that Donald Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025, that is a lie. J.D. Vance also wrote a preamble to that. His former body man is the spokesperson for that. As I learned last night, the previous addition to Project 2025 was Project 2017, which was approved by the Trump campaign. This is just an expanded, newer version. But then she ends it with a positive message by saying, look, you don't have to abandon your beliefs. You don't have to do that. If you don't believe in it, then don't. But don't let a woman and her doctor choose and decide what is right for them. Let them choose what is right for them. Again, that was a positive message. Donald Trump is instead, again, with the negativity, I want you to listen to the difference in contrast, compare and contrast. Just the tone here, just what they're discussing. Just compare and contrast, okay? Donald Trump is complaining about things like Beyonce and rallies.
She can't get anybody. 3 days ago, she said Beyonce was coming. So people came to see Beyonce, but Beyonce went up, thank you very much, everybody, and then she left. She didn't sing. And then they all left. She was speaking, nobody, and they were booing the hell out of her, by the way. And the fake news doesn't report those stories.
Okay, so look, again, comparing rally sizes, lying about Beyonce. Beyonce is nobody. Did you anybody booing Beyonce? Did you see the vice president having trouble getting crowds at her rallies? Again, it's all lies and negativity. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. Oh boy. Now, here's the vice president, a positive message. I will always stand up for you.
The drive to protect hardworking Americans who aren't always seen or heard and deserve a voice. And I will tell you that is the kind of president I will be. And look, I'll be honest with you, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But here's what I promise you. I will always listen to you. Even if you don't vote for me. I will always tell you the truth, even if it is difficult to hear. I will work every day to build consensus and reach compromise to get things done. And if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf, there is nothing in the world that will stand in my way.
Okay, guys, come on now. When have you ever heard Donald Trump say, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes? When have you ever heard him say that? I'm not perfect. I may not always get it right. And she sounds like me when I tell you, remember, I always tell you guys, you may not want to hear the truth, but I have to tell you. I had to tell you about when the President Joe Biden that was going to be iffy. The Democrats are not happy with him. He's probably going to have to drop out. You guys were really mad at me. You're like, stop it, start, you need to support our president. I never did not support the president. The thing is that I needed to tell you the truth about it. And then the Vice President Kamala Harris came in and became the nominee. And here we are. So if someone tells you that, that's when people really care about you, and they care about you enough to tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it. That's what I appreciate. I appreciate that about my parents, my family, my friends, my coworkers, the people in my life who are honest with me and don't gas me up or glaze me, as the young folks say now. I have never, ever heard Donald Trump admit to any sort of natural human frailty or vulnerability. I was wrong, or even rarely said I'm sorry or that I get anything wrong. Never, ever. How could you trust that? Nobody's perfect, certainly not him, and he won't admit to it, and we know his flaws. There are many. But the interesting thing and the sad thing is that he doesn't see them as flaws. That is problematic. He also attacks institutions. It's one of the reasons that we don't have a shared agreement on what reality is and what a fact is because he tries to bend reality in the way that he wants it into his favor, even when it's a lie. He will lie in your face and tell you it's the truth. He has attacked the media for years, and he's happy about it. Revered places, respected institutions of journalism, he's attacked them so much that he has caused people to not believe in it. And guess what? He wants you, though, to believe him, and he wants to drive you to the places that he thinks you should go, which has no editorial standards, which has no commitment to facts. He wants you to go to his platform. He wants you to go to other social media platforms so you can hear rhetoric like the rhetoric he spews. He's happy about destroying the institution of journalism and the First Amendment, which I believe is unpatriotic. Here he is. If you don't believe me, here it is.
No, that's a lot. Look at that. See, we must be coming. That is a lot of fake news. When they lose their final ounce of credibility, they'll probably turn good again because they're losing so much credibility. Do you know when I first started running, their approval rating, the very beginning, before maybe I even started, it was like 92% favorable rating. You know what it is now? 12%. I drove it down like almost 90 points. I drove it down numbers. I'm very proud of it. I've exposed them as being fake. But with your help, 1 week from today, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris and the media.
Look, that is just disgusting. Let me tell you why. And it's not because I'm a member of the media, right? Think about this. Think about the values that you grew up with, the values that you think are American, the values that supposedly they say are patriotic values. If you are a Christian, if you're a believer in any sort of religion, you should be wary of anyone who takes glee in anyone's downfall. When people are championing the downfall and the mishaps of others, you have to question their character. And I quite frankly think you have to question their patriotism. Ha 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 ha. Look at what I did to you. There you are, you're down, and I stomped on you and I got rid of you. When I hear that and I see that, especially like from people in the comments and people who are trying to own the libs and, oh my God, I'm so glad that you did. I'm glad that you got fired. I'm glad that you are having a hard time. Look at how sick Hillary Clinton is. Look at how, and Hillary Clinton's not sick. Look at Joe Biden. He looks like an old man that's, be wary of anyone like that. That means they're terrible people who are vengeful. That's what it means. And so to that, I want you to compare and contrast just the messaging. Someone's trying to get past me. And you may not be paying that much attention to it, right? But when people are working to force your downfall, when they say if you dig one ditch, you dig one grave, you better dig two because the next one you dig just might be for you. I believe in that, but I also believe in not taking glee in anyone's downfall, even if they're my enemies, even if they root for mine. And to that end, folks who are in Congress, folks who are in the Senate, they are rooting for your downfall, especially when it comes to your right to health care. The secret that Donald Trump has been talking about, that Republicans have been talking about, is the one where they want to take care of they want to take away your health care. They want to repeal and replace. They're back at that bullshit again. Case in point, here's the evidence, here's the proof. Mike Johnson.
Sorry, 1 second, Don.
Stand by. We're getting the soundbite up.
Talk. I mean, healthcare reform is going to be a big part of the agenda. When I say we're going to have a very aggressive first 100 days agenda, we got a lot of things still on the table. But healthcare, that's part. It's the secret. It's the secret. Healthcare reform is not a secret. There's some really important ideas on the table, and we have a docs caucus, the physicians who serve in the House, and they've got a menu of options about this thick. And I think this is part of it because if you take government bureaucrats out of the healthcare equation and you have doctor-patient relationship, it's better for everybody, more efficient, more effective. That's the free market. Trump's going to be for the free market. You heard a little sample of that last night. We want to take a blowtorch to the regulatory state, okay? Yeah. I mean, these agencies have been weaponized against the people, and it's crushing the free market. It's like a boot on the neck of job creators and entrepreneurs and risk takers. And so healthcare is one of the sectors, but we need this across the board, and Trump's going to go big. I mean, he's only going to have one more term, right? Can't run for re-election. And so he's going to be thinking about legacy, and we're going to fix all these things. And,
no Obamacare?
No Obamacare. Yeah, the ACA is so deeply ingrained. We need massive reform to make this work, and we got a lot of ideas on how to do that.
You heard that, right? Now, that is part of Project 2025. Getting rid of Obamacare. But he says, I don't have anything to do with Project 2025. They're already implementing the proposals that they have in Project 2025. When are people going to start to believe what they say? Oh, that's never going to happen. He's not going to do it. You guys are just whatever. He's going to do it. The Republicans are going to do it. Guess what? They don't like him, but he is what? Their Trojan horse. He's the one that can push their entire extreme right-wing agenda in. I'm not going to get rid of abortion or women's right. What do? When someone shows you who they are, if a party shows you who they are, believe them. So look, this entire week, right? I mean, I know it's what Wednesday now? It's only Wednesday, right? It's hump day. This entire week we've been telling you about the fallout from that MAGA cult right-wing hate rally that happened at Madison Square Garden on Sunday, the one that demonized immigrants and an entire state, Puerto Rico, entire territory of the United States, Puerto Rico, calling it garbage. That comedian, Kill Tony, Hinchcliffe, I think his name is. We've been telling you about that. We told you multiple reports, multiple news agencies confirmed that the comments, the statements, the jokes were vetted and approved by the Trump folks, loaded into the teleprompter. And they demanded, with success, that the comedian take out calling the vice president the C word. So they saw the comments. They knew who this comedian was. But now all of a sudden, as you know, as Donald Trump often does, when someone screws up and they get caught, what does he say? I don't know who they are. He did it with so many people. I barely know them. I don't know them. I have no idea what you're talking about. That is what he's doing with this comedian who insulted so many people. On an interview with Fox, he's pretending that he has no knowledge of it. He has washed his hands of it. I don't know. I nobody, right? And also saying, we don't vet comedians. Okay, here it is.
If you were there for the whole thing, I don't know what time you got there. I was told and made aware that you had no idea about this comedian who made comments.
I have no idea who he is. Somebody said there was a comedian that joked about Puerto Rico or something, and I have no idea who he was. Never saw him, never heard of him, and don't want to hear of him. But I have no idea. They put a comedian in, which everybody does. You throw comedians in. You don't vet them and go crazy. It's nobody's fault. But somebody said some bad things. Now, what they've done is taken somebody that has nothing to do with the party, has nothing to do with us, said something, and they try and make a big deal. But I don't know who it is. I don't even know who put him in. And I can't imagine it's a big deal. I've done more for Puerto Rico than any president
Oh my God.
that's ever been president.
Okay. Throwing paper towels at them. Puerto Rico's still trying to recover from some major storms and hurricanes. They had to fight to get funding and money from the Trump administration. And then now he's saying, I don't know. Here's the thing. Number one, it's a lie because you spoke after him and no one had the sense, and people knew the fallout, and they're always on social media. As a matter of fact, someone who spoke there owns a social media company, and the fallout from that comedian was already going viral before he spoke. Someone had to have alerted him to that, and he spoke hours after that comedian, maybe an hour or so after that comedian. So plenty of time, and he never addressed it. He never apologized. He never said on stage that I don't agree with any of those statements. None of the people on that stage said that. So that part is a lie. The other part is, if you're going to be the leader of the free world, you want to be president. Don't you think you have an obligation to vet people? And if you can't do that, if you don't do that, then why should you become the president? Why should we entrust you with our secrets, with our well-being, with our futures, with our present? Why should we do that? If you don't have the competence to vet someone whose history is out there. This is why I believe. Do you remember Bob Woodward? Bob Woodward exposed Watergate, along with Carl Bernstein, former colleague and a friend of mine. Now listen to the man who is not partisan, by the way. Listen to the man who broke open Watergate, who has covered many presidents, has been around at least since the Nixon administration in the 1970s. This is what Bob Woodward has to say about Donald Trump, which will, I believe, answer the questions that I just presented to you.
Yeah, so Bob, final question for you.
Yes.
You've written several books on Donald Trump. You've deeply reported on Donald Trump, inside Trump Tower, inside the White House when he was president, and you've reported as deeply on him as anybody. Mm-hmm. And so if you could answer this question for voters, when he says that he's going to use the military and the National Guard to arrest his political opponents, when he says he's going to arrest Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, when he calls them enemies from within, when he says he's going to shut down CBS and go after Comcast for treason, and shutting down CBS because he doesn't like the editing of interviews, does he mean that? would you say take him at his word?
Well, you never can get in the mind of Donald Trump. To a certain extent, I say thank God, because his interest is only himself. He has no idea of what the responsibility to the people is. That's the job of the president. I agree with General Milley. No one is as dangerous. No one so misunderstands the responsibilities.
He says fascist to the core.
Yeah, fascist to the core. And that's a man who worked with him. I interviewed Trump. Hours, get him on the phone. What's going on? Totally irresponsible. Voters, he does not care about you.
Author.
I don't know if I could say it any better than Bob Woodward. Voters, he does not care about you. He doesn't care about you. And look, I know here that I'm preaching to the choir. I know that I'm preaching to the choir here. I get it. But I cannot tell you what's on the line here. Being in Washington, D.C. last night and listening to people, you're going to see some of that today on our social, and then you'll see it on our live at 5 as well. And again, you know where we are. I'll tell people where we are. We're going to Pennsylvania. We're going to Lancaster and other places in Pennsylvania where places that had traditionally been red, really, really red, right, voted for Republicans. This time, and usually is a bellwether for not only the state, how the state is going to go, well, because Pennsylvania is so important and has so many electoral votes, 19, it usually is a bellwether for how the election is going to go. Pennsylvania is all the marbles. If you win Pennsylvania, then you are probably most likely going to win the presidency, okay? And so we're going to go and see how those people feel, and you're going to hear from them. I'm going to show you what they have to say. But I think what Bob Woodward said you should keep in mind. You should keep that in mind. Because when you hear the vice president talk about fascism and all of those things, I would not count that out. And I would not, as all the folks who are saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's using that language. Sometimes you have to call a thing a thing. Also in breaking news, where we talk about Project 2025 and limiting your voting access, the U.S. Supreme Court is now allowing Virginia to continue to purge voters this close to the election. This close to the election. Georgia has done the same thing. There are other places that are doing the same thing. Be careful, guys, about sitting around or being on the fence, or just because you're a Republican saying you can't vote for a Democrat, or you're a man, you can't vote for a woman, or because of Israel, you can't vote for them because of their stance on Gaza and all of those things. You need to know what is at stake here. You need to know what is at stake here. So look, I'm going to see you at 5 o'clock live from the road. Folks are asking if I'm coming to Pittsburgh. I don't know. Maybe I will go to Pittsburgh. But we are in Pennsylvania, and we are working for you, just so you know that. Please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the likes. Hit the thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. It is free, okay? Check out our social media sites. Check us out on TikTok, where we have sometimes we put things on TikTok that we don't put on Instagram. Sometimes we put things on Instagram that we don't put on TikTok. Sometimes things we put on Facebook that we don't put on YouTube. So make sure you check out all of our social media sites, because, again, this is crunch time. There's only 6 days left until the election. Okay? So I will see you at 5 o'clock from the road, most likely from somewhere, who knows, in Pennsylvania. If you have any ideas or suggestions for me, send it to me. Okay, guys? I'm tired. I gotta tell y'all, I'm tired. Like, once this election is over, depending on who wins, I gotta take a break, because I am I wouldn't say I'm killing myself out here, but I am really hitting it hard, and we're not getting a lot of sleep. And we said, look, we just have to be on overdrive until this election is over. Also, remember, on election night, we're going to be live. We're going to be in different places. We're going to have sort of a hybrid show for you we're going to be on the streets, man on the streets, going to interesting places. Also in studio, I'm going to have some interesting co-hosts and interesting guests joining. The Lemonheads, you can join as well. How do we get to you? Tell us how we get to you. There's something, I think it's up on the community page, how you can send in your information so that you can be part of the show on election night, because we want to hear from you. Here's what I believe. I believe that people are going to be, watching traditional media and paying close attention to like the magic walls and what's happening in this county, but that county, but people are also going to want to like take a break and go, oh my gosh, I need a breather. I need a little levity. I need to be able to vent to someone. I need to go someplace where they're talking about politics, but not in the usual sort of strict political way outside of the Beltway. So I appreciate your support. You don't have to thank me. The way you thank me is by supporting independent media, by getting our subscribers up, by hitting that like button, and about telling your friends all about us, and by joining us every day on our live programs and checking out our content. Okay? So, from a parking lot where producer Chris has gone in to grab us some supplies in Pennsylvania, I'll see you live at 5 o'clock. Thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button, too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for you to check out.